Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Financial Modeling Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Pernath. I'm passionate about financial modeling. And with me today, I've got a good friend of the podcast, Lance Rubin. If you've been listening to the Financial Modeling Podcast over the past 3 seasons, he'll be no stranger to your ears. And joining us as well today to chat about personal growth, to chat about a little bit of drive and vision, and about crafting your life, I think, is Bella Funck. So Bella, thanks very much for joining us today, and Lance as well.
Thank you.
Is very much about the other tools that we need to become a financial modeler. And when I speak about tools in this context, I'm not talking about Excel or Python or some technologies. I'm talking about the tools that we need to really develop and grow as people. And I think that's something that's very passionate to me. Everybody gets into financial modeling for a different reason. I got into financial modeling because I love the way financial models work. I love the way they're structured. I come from an engineering background, and I'm fascinated with the way that everything is connected and links into each other. But certainly some of my colleagues have got into financial modeling because they're passionate about renewable energy. And they knew that the way that they needed to drive renewable energy was to actually build financial models for renewable energy projects to show that renewable energy projects were feasible. In fact, they don't really care about financial modeling at all, but it was a means to an end. And they knew what they needed to do to achieve that, to achieve the vision of a world that runs on green power and runs on renewable energy. So I think we all have different reasons for doing what we do, but today's episode is about being, I think, a little bit more deliberate and being more deliberate about our life choices and being a little bit more deliberate about what we do in order to achieve an end goal. Isn't that right, Lance? You introduced us to Bella. What was your thinking behind that? And what do you think about being deliberate in the way that we make life choices, especially as financial modelers?
Matty, that's a great question. And I think you're spot on. For me, it's about making better business decisions. So I got into financial modeling because I wanted to help business owners and key people in business stakeholders make better decisions. And what better way to make a better decision than a financial model? But, more recently, I've stumbled upon this concept of, well, that's okay, building financial models, but what about the rest of your life? What about where do you go with your life? Where do you go with that skill, and what do you want to achieve? And that's more than just a financial model. That's sort of, inspiring and training people and developing a team or developing a business. So for me, this discussion is about how do you take something that you're passionate about for a greater purpose? So yes, we build financial models for social benefit bonds, for social infrastructure, for youth homelessness and recidivism. So we want to try to deal with social issues around financial modeling. So I think, being deliberate about where you go with your career as a financial modeler is important. And I think you can see a lot more value by doing that, but you've got to be deliberate. I mean, Matthew, you've done some amazing work with this financial modeling podcast. And I think lots of people listen in because that's your passion, that you wanted to bring this knowledge that was sort of untapped. And I think that's your journey. And for me, everyone has their own journey, but it's a deliberate decision to take those journeys. And I think that's what I loved when I saw the personal canvas, which Bella created, because this is sort of like a business canvas, but for yourself. This is the business of you. This is about what you want to achieve. No one else gives a hoot what you want to achieve except yourself. And I think it's a great framework to do that.
Absolutely. So let's move on to that. I mean, Bella, you created the personal canvas. You are, in effect, actually helping people become a little bit more deliberate about what they want to achieve in their lives, really applying some thought to it and then making the decisions to achieve that and drive that. Talk to us a bit about the personal canvas and where that came from.
Yes, I'm happy to do. And thank you both for inviting me. I love talking about this, and I love helping people to make those deliberate choices. And so, yeah, the personal canvas, basically, as both of you have been talking about, is a tool to help you to be clear about where am I going and what matters to me. And I actually created it from the beginning to support myself. I went through a transformation in my life. I turned 30. I had a kid. I made a career shift. Became a leader, and lots of new questions, challenges came into my thinking process, into my emotional process as well. And I needed structure for myself to keep focused and to be aware of what matters, where am I going, what's important, how do I want to grow, to be the person I want to be and to grow in the direction that I want to grow. And so I created it for myself, and I started sharing it with friends who appreciated it, and then I put it out there. And today, yeah, it seems like quite a lot of people enjoy working with it, and also it's a foundational piece of the work that I do as well in the company called Kohler. So yeah, it's a very passionate, thing that I've been working on, and I'm very happy that you, as I said, invited me to speak more about it.
But I will say from a personal perspective, about maybe once a year or maybe a little bit more often, and I'm sure, Lance, you've had a similar experience, I sort of try to think a bit about personal strategy. So I get out a pen, a piece of paper, and the piece of paper is blank. And I don't know where to start, I draw a bubble with my name in the middle, maybe a bit of a signature. And then I'm like, I draw like a line out, and I'm like, okay, there's my work. And then I draw another line out. That's a financial modeling podcast. And then I try and draw lines out from what I want to achieve from those things. It's not very structured. And in fact, I find that every time I do it, it looks completely different because it's not very structured. And obviously the personal canvas, I think, highlights on certain points that one should think about, and allows you to certainly be free and free flowing in what you want to achieve and everything, but it just applies a bit more structure to that personal strategy process.
Yeah, it surely is. And I think also what it helps you to do is to identify, for example, we talk about success, or we're talking about direction, where we want to go. And it's quite easy that we have an assumption about what success is to us, how we want to grow. But actually, maybe we have never really questioned, is that my definition of success and where I want to go? Or is it what I think I should go and what people, want me to go? So what the personal canvas also do is to help you to be connected to what matters to you, and also what matters to you now. As you said, a strategy always needs to update, right? You don't create a strategy and then you have that for the rest of the business life or, your own life. You need to continuously iterate. And so working with the personal canvas is about tuning into where am I right now? And how do I want to stretch myself and grow from where I am at the moment? And then you might define or redefine, the vision and the definition of success. Because as you grow older, that might change, because you might have a perception that success is, I don't know, what can it be? A specific role, or it's only financial, financial goals. And as you get older, maybe you get kids, then freedom might be more important, or flexibility, or, something like that. And it's a matter of, when you're connected to what's important right now, you're also more flexible, more resilient, and more committed to challenge yourself, to dare to do new things, like create the podcast, or, create the business that you've been dreaming about, and, go beyond definitions or roles, or, whatever that might be that you hold on to feel like safe, I guess.
You're a financial modeler. You did the personal canvas. How did it help you, change your mindset and maybe bring a bit more clarity to what you wanted to achieve?
Well, I stumbled on it because someone approached me and said, I need help. They see me on LinkedIn. They see me very, in tune with what I want to achieve, and very deliberate as to how I go about it. And they said they want some help. They want to be coached. They need some assistance. They want to learn financial modeling. They want to learn data analytics. They want to learn all these tools. And they feel like they're just not going anywhere in their life. And so I sort of stopped and I thought, wow, like someone has recognized that I've been, and then I started to self-reflect, right, as a result of that, and saying, well, am I worthy of being a coach? And so I think the key thing for me is actually using the personal canvas to make me stop and think and reassess. And I think that's the thing that really helped me. And how can I be a coach if I don't do that for myself? So what it's done for me, it's made me stop and think about what's actually important, for me? What do I want to achieve? And why am I doing some of this stuff? Why am I running off doing this technology and this business and that business? And behind the scenes, there's a reason for all of that. And the reason for that is, one, I'm passionate about technology. I'm passionate about helping people and embracing it and educating. I love educating people. I love explaining to people that, how they can change, decisions, and they can change businesses, and they can change people's lives with a financial model. And so I think the personal canvas helped me put that all together. It kind of helped me tell the story so that I could coach someone to help them see that. And it reminded me of another financial modeler and many financial modelers that leave corporates, that build the skill and they run their own business. There are many, one-man band and one-woman band financial modelers out there, but they can't grow a business. And I never wanted to do that. So I wanted to deliberately create a business that wasn't reliant on me as a financial modeler. And so how did I do that? I needed to be deliberate as to what I wanted to do. Now, I needed to scale. I needed to use technology. Technology was a key ingredient to that. And what I didn't realize is that part of that, naturally, I was building my own canvas. I was building my own building blocks as part of that. And so when it actually came, and I was fortunate enough to go through executive coaching when I was at a large bank as an employee. So I was able to self-reflect. I was able to be very self-aware. And I think that's the thing that the personal canvas gave me. It actually gave me the huge amount of self-awareness and sort of a one, to stop, two, to be self-aware. And then the third one is actually, once you are aware of your gaps or your issues or what's holding you back and what your goals are, then suddenly you just get this clarity. And I think Bella said it, right? You just get this absolute clarity and then you go for it. And so what's happened since then is I've just got all this energy around, doing stuff. And so, and enabling different people to do that as well. So as a financial modeler, I think we can get stuck in our tools and our ways of doing things the same way over and over again. And the personal canvas for me meant that I could stop, reflect, be self-aware, and then change and be deliberate as to what I wanted to do next.
The personal canvas obviously broken up into these different sections. And I mean, I'll certainly provide the link as well for anybody to go and download it and have a look at it. But it's broken up into values, passion, vision, impact, and internal purpose. But I mean, big headings, but certainly difficult for somebody to unpack. I mean, one can spend, I guess, 2 weeks just thinking about one of those headings.
Definitely. It can take some time, and some things might be super clear for a few people. That's very true. And yes, those are big words, but I think also good to reflect on.
Absolutely. So what advice, I mean, and obviously you do, you provide coaching and you do these programs for corporates, as you mentioned, but what advice do you have for somebody who wants to take away this canvas and do it on their own time? And what should they be thinking about? Should they be maybe in a sort of clear space of mind? Are there certain things they should avoid? I mean, even things like internal purpose. And I imagine that's something that changes significantly over time as one grows and, as you say, as matures, has a family, etc. All of those are massive life-changing events that can change your internal purpose and can really change what you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah. Well, I would recommend to get some time or create space for reflection. I think this is not something that you stress and just put together. And I would also say, for example, internal purpose or values, it's something that you would probably go to autopilot thinking, where it's like, okay, what is important? What values matters to me right now? And I would also like to highlight values, as I see it, is a representation of your needs. The most important needs that you have right now. And most often when we talk about values, we talk about, what we've got from, when we grew up, or, very important pillars in our values in that way. But when you work with the canvas, I think I recommend that you focus on what are the most important values in my life right now that will help me to make decisions that is aligned with where I'm going and what I need. And so, for example, values for me at the moment, or one value for me at the moment is flexibility, freedom. And therefore, I've started my own business so I can be flexible with how I design my life, and I can spend more time with my kids, etc. So things like that, I think, be very connected to you here and now. I think that, and go beyond, what you think you should value, what you think is important, looking from the past. So create space, be very connected to here and now. And also, one third very important recommendation is to have your peers, your support network. So ideally, you'd have someone or a few people that also work with their personal canvas, because it's in the process to share. When you share and listen to others, you get perspectives, you hear yourself speak, and then suddenly things make sense or not. That process helps so much. And I've also seen that from, trainings we do within organization. That's where the magic happens. It's quite easy, and it's very easy that you get into the intellectual thinking when you're on your own. But everyone needs different things. So some people might need a lot of introvert time, and some need to be in a social situation to be able to connect to these questions. So design it for your best, but the combination of, space for yourself, share and listen to others, and connect to and challenge yourself so you're connected to what matters right now. I think that would be my 3 top recommendations.
And I think that's great advice. And do you also, having gone through similar processes before, like Lance, getting other people's perspectives as well is always a great idea to see how they view you. And does that align with how you view yourself, which is always a fascinating topic. Bella and Lance, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. Fascinating to hear about the personal canvas. I will put the link in the podcast description. And appreciate your time, and thank you for all that you do for helping people really to connect with their inner purpose.
Thank you so much for having me.